Welcome to another episode of the Pre-Zero Sports Talk podcast. I'm your host, Sid Ben Salah, and today we have a truly inspiring guest, Walker Ferguson. Walker is a student athlete, entrepreneur, and passionate advocate for mental wellness as a football safety for Wake Forest University and a co-founder of Ascend, meditation app that's redefining how we approach mindfulness. He has mastered the balance between athletics, academics, and entrepreneurship. In this episode, we'll explore Walker's remarkable journey from the challenges of Division I football to innovating in the wellness tech space. Let's get started. Walker, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Excited to be here.
Excellent. Before we dive in, let's talk about football. I wanted to get your thoughts on last night's incredible game. The Chiefs edged out the Bills 32-29 in marking another chapter in their historic journey. Patrick Mahomes is now one game away from what many thought was impossible, leading the Chiefs to a three-peat Super Bowl appearance. What are your thoughts on this remarkable feat, Walker?
Yeah, no, I think it's unbelievable what they've been able to do as an organization, especially in the NFL. Mm-hmm. You know, every new people are coming in. You're always getting free agents. People are signing new contracts. So to do what they've done and continue to win at that level with all the moving parts is like truly remarkable. You know, a lot of my buddies were rooting for the Bills last night. He's like, dude, I'm tired of seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And, you know, everyone was hating on Tom Brady too when he was winning his 6 and then 7 rings, you know, and he was having success. No one liked seeing that. You know, I'm the exact opposite. I was like, how can you hate on greatness? I enjoyed watching the Chiefs win because what they've been able to do has been truly incredible. And they play together. They all believe. They work towards that common goal, and they got it done. I mean, if we look at the past 3 years, they beat the Bills in the AFC Championship. Mm-hmm. Last year, they beat the Bills in the divisional, and then they beat the Ravens. Then the year after that, they beat the Bills again in the AFC Championship. Like, Patrick Mahomes just finds a way to win games. And, I mean, you can't hate on that. That's the definition of greatness, right? Mm-hmm. The ability to win when you're under pressure. So no, I'm all for it. And I think, you know, I think this is a repeat of Super Bowl 2021, I believe, the Eagles Chiefs repeat. I think they'll get it done again.
And Josh Allen's struggles against Mahomes in the playoffs are well documented. What do you think sets Mahomes apart in these high pressure moments?
His mindset. I mean, both of them are freak athletes when you look at them, you know. Yeah. They both have so many different intangible qualities. Like Patrick Mahomes has very good vision. He can throw the ball. Mm-hmm. He can go through his reads super quick, and he can get out of the pocket. You know, Josh Allen is super big and physical. He likes to take hits, and Josh Allen also can run the ball very well. You know, so they both have very good qualities where they both are super good physically within their game that they can translate right into the field. Obviously, the top of their game, like physically and athletically. And I wouldn't really say there's too much of a major distinction between Mahomes and Josh Allen. I think they both have very, you know, they're both winners. They both have a winner's mindset. They give themselves positive self-talk, and they both find ways to win games. I mean, Patrick Mahomes does edge him in the playoffs, but if you look at the last 2 years in the regular season, you know, Josh Allen has beaten Patrick Mahomes. So it's not like Mahomes is like dominating Allen every single time they play. It's just like the games that matter, right? And, you know, I think that's a testament to, you know, his mindset, the team's mindset, and overall, you know, coaching. I think coaching is huge, especially in playoff games. And, you know, Andy Reid and the Chiefs and, you know, their DCs, they do an unbelievable job to win games. Because as we know, football's a team sport. It's a game of inches, and it really does require every member. But I wouldn't necessarily put Mahomes above Josh Allen mindset-wise because I do believe they're both winners.
Yeah. And looking ahead, the Chiefs face an Eagles team hungry for revenge. Yeah. How do you see that matchup playing out, and what will it take for the Chiefs to secure another title?
I think the Chiefs can win if they just stay within the system and they do what they're capable of doing. Mm-hmm. You know, if they execute the offense, they don't have false starts, they stay on schedule. You know, they're not getting pass interference or the penalties. The penalties will kill them. But if they stay on schedule and play the game they're capable of playing, I think they'll be able to take care of it. I mean, make, you know, a couple crucial, like, big-time plays throughout the game. Mm-hmm. You know, I think the Eagles, it's really going to come down to, like, how well Jalen Hurts plays, as well as the defense. And I think it's going to come down to who makes the less mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. If you have 3 turnovers and you're getting penalties, interceptions, it's going to be hard to win a game, right? But if you don't have any false starts, you know, you stay on schedule and you play within your system, you listen to your coaching, and you execute. If every player on that team, whichever it be the Eagles or the Chiefs, does their job, that team's going to win the game. But I do foresee it being the Chiefs.
From a spectator point, Walker, what kind of game you like watching? A game that goes all the way to the wire, to the last second, or
Yeah.
just
I
keeping
mean,
the
it really,
stress and
yeah. I mean, it depends on who I'm rooting for, right? Depends if I'm a Steelers fan, right? So it's always tough because we always make the playoffs the first round and then we lose in the wild card normally every time. But if it's the Steelers playing, I want to see a blowout where we're winning, right?
yeah.
Secure the win. But if it's two teams that I don't really care about, I'm just watching good football. I like seeing it get down to the wire because it's entertaining. And I love seeing good defense too.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves when people are scoring points in offense, but I think defense is pretty amazing when their teams are going 3 and out.
Yeah.
What they're able to do.
And speaking of the Chiefs, we can't ignore the pop culture frenzy surrounding Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And we see the impact here in Europe. Now, basically, he's the Taylor Swift's boyfriend. What's your take, Walker, on how this unexpected connection is drawing new fans, especially young Swifties, to football?
Yeah, I mean, obviously can't speak too much on Travis and Taylor because I don't really follow their relationship per se. But I do, but I will say that I do think it's good for football that
Yeah.
women and people that necessarily hadn't watched the game are now interested in football due to Taylor Swift. So in that regard, I think she's very good for the National Football League for bringing new fans along and getting them entertained in football. But I do think that they've done a better job this year of not publicizing Taylor Swift to the extent they did last year, where she was on every single commercial every time the TV came on during the Super Bowl. I think it's good to really focus on the game, what's most important, why are we really watching the game. But I do think it's good that she's bringing in new fans.
Fantastic. Let's start with your story. Growing up in Richmond, Virginia, how did sports become such a central part of your life?
I mean, it kind of just happened, but like you said, Richmond, Virginia. I played everything with the ball growing up. Baseball, basketball, football, lacrosse, you name it. And I just fell in love with the game. I tried swimming. My sister's a really good swimmer. She swam at Colgate up in New York, and I couldn't swim. I'd drown. And so I stuck to land sports. But I don't know. I just love the camaraderie, the team aspect of putting someone else above yourself to get to go to a common goal. And I loved all the life lessons that sport taught you. Sports teaches you. Whether it's basketball, football, baseball, even if you're playing tennis and it's like a singles match. You can learn so many life lessons through sports, through losses, and then through that feeling of a really good victory. So that's kind of what drew me into sports early on, was the passion I felt, how fun I had playing these sports, especially land sports, and putting someone above myself, right? That team aspect, that camaraderie aspect. Because when you play sports and you're with your teammates and you're both working for that common goal, you build a brotherhood and camaraderie that that's you can't it's hard to find that anywhere else. So that's one of the reasons I really was drawn to sports growing up, was the brotherhood and the friendships.
Yeah. Was entrepreneurship always on your radar, or did it emerge as you progressed through college?
Yeah, I think it it definitely emerged more in college. When I was a kid, I did a landscaping business. I would go around and cut lawns and stuff like that. Lemonade stands. There was always little side ventures growing up as a kid. But my mom's a realtor and my dad has always been self-employed, whether that's medical sales or now he's doing a company for old historic windows, restorations. But they've both been self-employed their whole lives. So they kind of have that entrepreneur mindset, although they don't have the massive companies. But seeing them kind of in their day-to-day lives was kind of inspiring and allowed me to kind of realize that's kind of what I wanted to do, was be self-employed, in the future. I didn't really want to work in the system or work for a corporate organization. I wanted to set my own hours and then, ultimately control my own success. And then, I got to college, and I know we kind of talked about this in the pre-interview, but that's when I met Hampton, my freshman year roommate and my brother for life, business partner. And, we hit it off right away. Unbelievable synergy. And like I said, life's all about relationships, right? Moms are both realtors. Dads both came from farming families in the middle of nowhere. Couldn't write it better. Would stay up all night bouncing ideas off each other, whether that was, a brewery, open this restaurant, whatever the idea may be, and nothing ever stuck. But those conversations with him really made me realize that, we're going to do something after college, and we're definitely doing the entrepreneurship route because we want to find a way to help people and make their lives, happier, healthier. And at the end of the day, that's what life's all about, is how can you help someone else live a better life, right? And I really felt that my calling of that was through entrepreneurship. And then obviously as I grew, from freshman year to sophomore year, I'm learning and developing new skills and getting more specialized knowledge and doing my commitment or my consistency and my time and my discipline that's when I really realized that, this is what I want to do after college. And especially working, I worked a couple internships too. I worked in one in a real estate company in the Outer Banks. It was like vacation realty. I worked a commercial real estate internship out in Silicon Valley in the spring, remote, my junior year. And then in the summer, I was in New York for a knowledge on demand firm called Alpha Sites. And they were all great experiences. I learned so much from everyone there. But I just felt like I had a calling for something greater that I could really change the lives of others.
I think real estate, it's one of those industries where you fine-tune your sales skills.
No doubt. Yeah. All commission-based.
Yeah. Football teaches discipline and teamwork. How have these lessons carried over in your entrepreneurial ventures?
Oh, immensely. That's why sports is so important. And, I think football is obviously not obviously, but I think football might be the greatest sport with that, for that team aspect, because you have 11 guys on a field that all have different body shapes, all have different sizes, different speed, different intangible abilities, but you all have to put that together to achieve that common goal. And, that's so unlike it. Not many teams, especially in college, have 130-man rosters. It's a lot of people to manage and to get to a goal. But the two words that really come to my mind thinking about that question is discipline and consistency. Discipline, doing things the right way, whether that may be like reading a book, showing up in the weight room, finding a way to like better yourself, and staying disciplined to what you can achieve. And then consistency is the most important word for me. And I've really carried that into Ascend, because you can do something for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 3 months, 4 months. But if you don't continue that process, you're not consistent with your daily routine, where you want to go, you're never going to get to where you want to be. So when you can mesh those two things, that discipline, that consistency, to go towards your goal, I really do think you can achieve everything in life. And, football really taught me that early on. Coming in, being a freshman, like not playing, getting my butt kicked in workouts, scout team by the older guys. It really showed me that, if you want a shot at playing here, you're really going to have to work your tail off, to get to where you want to be. And there's really no days off. Like in high school, if you were sick or you had something going on, you could get a note, right? And then you could come in a little late, sleep in, get that rest. In college, it's not like that. You're on the road at 5:30 a.m. and you're lifting weights. There's no and if for your butts, So that really taught me the value of consistency too, and carrying that aspect of like that mindset of like, I got to get up every day at 5:30. Like I got to grind right now. Carrying that out of football into like my daily life and just continuing that momentum and being like, this is what I got to do is so crucial. Because I think another thing you really got to think about too is, you have to do something, right? Like when I was playing football, right, you have to be on the roll at 5:30. Like you're going to find a way to get out of bed, right? Because like, you got to be there. But, telling yourself to do that, right? It's like, all right, come on, let's get up at 5:30 and let's go lift. Like that's a whole different story, because you don't necessarily have to do that. But how can you like find that consistency? How can you find that way to get up at that time? And I've read a book the other day. It's called The Psychology of Winning. And it was, if you get like 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night, and you wake up early, grind, you actually end up getting like 10 to 12 years back on your life, which is crazy when you put that into perspective. That's a lot of extra time to be excelling yourself and getting better, right? But to answer your question in short, I would say that a lot of the skills I've learned, but it all comes down to discipline, consistency, and then just improving one's like mental resilience and their mindset. I've read a book the other day. It's called The Psychology of Winning. And it was, if you get like 5 to 6 hours of sleep at night, and you wake up early, grind, you actually end up getting like 10 to 12 years back on your life, which is crazy when you put that into perspective. That's a lot of extra time to be excelling yourself and getting better, right? But to answer your question in short, I would say that a lot of the skills I've learned, but it all comes down to discipline, consistency, and then just improving one's like mental resilience and their mindset. I feel like a lot of times too, people have a really good idea, but they're like, I don't know what to do, right? I'm complacent. I don't know how to get to point A to point B. Just go for it. Life is really all about a sense of urgency, and it's really okay if you make mistakes, right? Like my philosophy is I would rather make 3 mistakes and get it wrong and get it right the 4th time by the time someone even starts, So I'd encourage anybody listening out there, discipline, consistency, improve your mindset, and then, a sense of urgency. And then those are really the tools I've learned from football. Yeah. They're translated directly to entrepreneurship.
Yeah. The hardest part on what you explained, and you did it beautifully, Walker, is when you have a setback. And especially in your case, when you have a goal, you have a target, you have a plan, you put a strategy forward and things like that, but then the minute there is an injury, that's a huge setback. How do you deal with that mentally, especially at that high level?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've had a couple injuries in my career. I think it's an understanding why you're there, like keeping the main thing the main thing. It's like, I came to college to play football at this level, right? And it's like in life, you're going to have setbacks. Like things aren't always sunshine and rainbows. But to get to where you want to be, you got to constantly have that positive self-talk. Be like, it's okay. Like, I'm going to get through this. Like, this is a minor setback for a major comeback, right? And just that constant, like, self-affirmation and that constant positive self-talk will translate. Because as we know as athletes, everything starts in the mind. And what you feed here is what you translates out there, right? So talking to yourself and being like, I'm going to get through this. Like, I'm going to come back stronger. And then visualizing yourself succeeding, coming back from that injury is so huge. Because if you can train your mind and develop emotional resilience as well as, mental resilience to be like, this is, like I said, this is a minor setback, but it's all right because at the end of the day, I'm going to come out on top because of my formulated mindset is huge. So that's why I'm really big into, meditation, learning how to formulate the mind into being a positive thinker, and eliminating negative energy, because I'm a firm believer that, positive energy travels, and your desires, and you have desires and you got doubts. And when you put that in your mind doesn't know the difference. So you might as well put the desires in because you can translate that into reality. Because if you put fear and doubt, that gets translated too. So you have to be really careful what you put in here.
Yeah. Were there specific moments when the mindset of an athlete at your level directly influenced how you tackle challenges in business?
Are you saying like from an example that I've seen?
Yeah.
Like from one of my teammates or something?
Or if you can share a time when football and your startup goals clashed, and how you managed that balance.
Yeah. I think a teammate that really was inspirational for me was a wide receiver we had named Horatio Fields. This guy was an unbelievable athlete. He's like 6'3", 210 pounds, just shredded, like absolute, like super fast, really good wide receiver. And he redshirted his freshman year, played 4 games because you could play 4 redshirt season. And he came out sophomore year, and he's just like balling. Like in the spring of freshman year, he had like an unbelievable camp, like one-handed catches over everybody. Like this guy's a freshman going against seniors and just dominating. And he's set to like start his sophomore year and have like really a breakout year. I remember we were in the summer and he tore his ACL. We were running routes in the indoor back in June. And I was heartbroken for him. We all were, because we knew like what was coming and that potential. And, seeing him the next day in the training room after he'd gotten the MRI, knowing that, it's torn and he's needing surgery, that was pretty heartbreaking for me, just to see, that's what he dedicated his life to that, like he put in all that hard work from like literally 5 years all the way through life to where he wanted to be. And that really took a toll on myself and a lot of other teammates too, just because we felt his pain for what he was going through. And that's kind of the first time in my life that I really realized that it really is all about your mindset, because Horatio was like, dude, why do you guys look sad, man? It's going to be all right. I'm coming back stronger. It's like, this is all setback for a major comeback. And the way he handled that was unbelievable. And, he talked about having some really dark times when he was going through that process while seeing his teammates play, when he was really the one that should have been on the field. And I never knew it. I never knew one time that he was feeling those things because of the way he portrayed himself to everyone else, which was a testament to his story. And as a result, he came back, played his senior year, kind of was up and down junior year through injuries and kind of coming back, and had a breakout year this year, did unbelievable. And now he actually just transferred to the University of Auburn. So he's going to be playing SEC football now. But that story was just a testament to one's mindset in athletics, and then how I can translate, especially to business, to realize that, a deal might not go through. You might lose an employee. Something may not go your way, whether that's you didn't get a patent, a competitor figured something out that you figured out first. Your MVP sucked, like something you thought that users wanted, they didn't want, right? And it went straight back down, and you got to restart from scratch. That is a true testament to show that sometimes in life, things don't always go your way, but the way you think, the way you respond is where you want to get to. And that's just a testament to him and his story. And I've been able to learn a lot from him and how I go into business.
Yeah, great example. Let's dive into Ascend. What inspired the idea to create a meditation app, and how does it stand out in such a competitive market?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So sophomore year, get back. I was here in the summer for football. I was just training. And, things really didn't change for me and my partner, Hampton. We're still on scout team. Wasn't playing. We weren't traveling. I'd gotten out of a 4-year relationship, and things on the home front were great. He was going through the similar things in his life. And that's kind of when I lost, my sense of, myself, because my identity has always been, in an athlete, right? I was like, I'm this athlete. This is what I do. And then I get to college, I'd get humbled so quickly because at this point in my life, everyone's so much better than I am. They're stronger, they're faster. I'm just like, well, who am I? Who is Walker, right? So I'm in, this really, really low point in my life. Grades aren't good, like I said. Everything just wasn't going right? And luckily for me, Hampton was kind of right there with me. And we were doing a lot of things that, we really shouldn't have been doing, that weren't really in our character, in our nature. And, that kind of spiraled along and got to the spring. And I'll never forget, we were walking around, Renolda Garden, which is our, garden around here. It's a good walk. It's like a walking trail, essentially, for hiking. And we looked at each other and we're like, dude, we got to do something. We got to figure something out. Something's not working. We just basically wasted a year. So we kind of made a commitment to each other at that point to kind of excel each other and bring each other up. And that's when we first started learning how to meditate. He took the Stoicism approach, got really big into reading the book Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, learning what a walking meditation was, body scans, how energy travels, affirmations in your mind, positive self-reassurance, all that good stuff. And that was kind of his approach. And he was teaching me a lot through that. And for me, I learned, I meditated on scripture because, I'm a Christian guy. Grew up going to church every Sunday. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And up until that point in my life, I knew about God, but I didn't have a personal relationship with him yet. And being able to read scripture, meditate on that, and then understanding what he was trying to tell me brought me out of some really dark times in my life. Because I was either in the past, depression, future anxiety, but I was never in the present moment, in coram Deo, in the presence of the Lord, and living my life to the fullest, and on all the blessings that he's been giving me in my life, right? So that kind of got us on the right path in our both different ways. Mine through the Christianity theology approach, and his through Stoicism and that side of things. And we kind of kept growing together. And he's like, Walker, I got to get out of here. He's like, I need a fresh restart. I want to play football. It's not happening here. I just got to go. So he ended up transferring to the University of Georgetown in Washington, D.C., and had a great football career. Became a starter. And was doing really well. And we talked once a week. We continued that relationship, both deepening our meditation practices. And that first semester goes by in January. Our junior year, that semester goes by. Unbelievable time. We're really figuring things out, right? Grades are getting a lot better. Relationships were unbelievable. Football was getting a lot better in practice and in playing. Everything was just going right? It was this sense of this cultivation of gratitude had brought us out of such dark times in our lives. That being said, we're on the way home. I'm going back to Richmond. His buddy from New York was picking him up from Georgetown. He was at Marist, picking him up at Georgetown, then coming down to, we have a farmhouse in Virginia where my dad's from. So we were staying there for the weekend. And I'll never forget, we just had a really heart-to-heart moment. It was December 14th of 2023. And I remember just being on my knees, crying for the Lord to save me. And that's the day I became Christian. And that's when I really developed a relationship with my Lord and Savior. I was like, he's the way, the truth, and the life. And all things are made through him, and I live for him. That's when I really discovered my purpose in life, to love and serve others. And that night, I'll never forget, we were, it was super cold. It was almost snowing too. It was 30s or 28 degrees, super cold. There was no heat in the house either. We're sitting up in this room. We're like, dude, we're going to change the world. We don't know what it's going to be, but we're going to do something to help people live happier, healthier lives. So this is where we get to January, where my mind was all over the place. January is when he came to me with the idea. And he's like, Walker, I know what we're going to do. I was like, what's that, Ham? He's like, we're going to create a meditation app that uses personalized meditations, personalized sleep stories, and later what we formulated, meditation plans to help people live life to the fullest potential, to reduce stress, and then gain a mindful edge and visualize their success. So I'm like, sweet, how do we do it? Lucky for us too, we had a free subscription to the app Calm through our athletic department. So we liked how they gave base meditations, base sleep stories, and obviously the Matthew McConaughey, the Adam Sklar, those voices are amazing and they're really good for putting you to sleep. But none of those meditations or sleep stories felt catered to me for what I was going through, right? In my situation. So that was the difference. We could use artificial intelligence to give people personalized meditation experiences to help them with whatever they were going through. So from there, the idea was kind of formulated. We knew what we were going to do. We met with some guys at a startup lab and our entrepreneurship department, set out some surveys to validate the proof of concept idea to make sure this is something people actually wanted. And from there, we put everything on a vision board, wrote up a business plan, how are we going to do it? And, you know, life is really all about relationships. I preach that over and over and over again. And so many things really fell into our place. You know, God is so good. And we met our developer, Colin. He was a student at Georgetown. He was 29, worked at Merrill Lynch for a little bit, came back to school to do his comp sci degree. Was actually the head of the computer science club at Georgetown. Hampton happened to sit next to each other in a Spanish class. Formulated a beautiful relationship. Hampton pitched him the idea. He's like, this is what I want to build this summer. So him and Gordon, who's another kid in the club that they brought on, built the MVP. And we did our beta testing in September. Found 1,000 bugs and a lot of fixes with the UI UX design. Lucky for me, when I was in New York, I learned how to use LinkedIn to find people because I worked at a knowledge on demand firm, and I found a developer out in Washington who had gotten her master's at Washington and studied 4 years in India. Her name is Vaishnavi. She's unbelievable what she does for UI UX design, and brought her on. She redesigned the app, and we officially got on the App Store November 1st of 2024. So we're very new, and we're about I want to say 5 days, very soon. Don't quote me on that, but very soon from the Android store. Only US and Canada, unfortunately, just due to some of the European restrictions and laws that we haven't gotten to yet. But that's kind of how it formulated, was just from a need, from something we needed at the time and something we wanted to offer other people. So that's kind of the story behind it.
And the value proposition of the project, is it actually the same as you intended at the beginning?
So it was, it wasn't, and then it was. So the way we started out, right, was we wanted this app to be for athletes to start, right, for student athletes that went through some of the struggles that we went through, so they can, reduce stress if their coach yelled at them or they had a bad lift, right? Or with the meditation plans, because that feature is essentially you put in a specific goal, right? So I could say I want to be a starter on my Wake Forest football team. I'm going to do this, this, and this to achieve my goal. It'll actually create a step-by-step process for you to visualize your success and see yourself achieving that goal in your mind and then translate that into reality. So that was always for athletes to start. And everyone early on was like, dude, stay in your niche. That's your market. That's your network. Dominate that market and then kind of expand. And what did I do? The exact opposite. So for a month, all I reached out to the team, we reached out to people that have been meditating for 30, 40 plus years through LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, hopping on podcasts. And that was just wrong. I mean, they already have a meditation practice, right? They know what they're doing. They've been doing it for 30, 40 years and ascend when they're not our target client. So I don't know if you are familiar with this app, but there's another app called Teamworks. But essentially that app is the Premier League uses it now. Pretty much every college uses it. They're global. And essentially it's like scheduling, right? So a coach can communicate with players, tell you when your lift is, all that good stuff. And I had the opportunity to hop on with their COO, and he gave me some mentoring. And he was like, Walker, he's like, you're doing the right things, but he's like, you're not in your niche. He's like, you're getting away from what you set out to do. And that was, I'll never forget that too. And I was just literally like, wow, you're so right. I've gotten away from the whole point of who we were trying to help in the first place. So we really targeted that back and really started reaching out to, or doing our research right now. We're still in the research phase, but then we're going to reach out to universities and try to get contracts with, universities like Wake Forest, like the Georgetown, the Marist, where essentially they pay us to use the app, and then all student athletes get access for free through their .edu email. So they can use the app to help them reduce stress and then, visualize their success and gain a mindful edge. So to answer your question, it started like that, got away from it, and then we came back. That's the way life goes sometimes. Sometimes you got to stray to come back and, get to where you want to be. So,
will you target sporting governing bodies in the US? Let's say soccer, the National Olympic Committee.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, obviously we got on the App Store in November, so it's still pretty early. The first year I really want to target, universities and getting that proof of concept up with athletic departments, you getting ADs to essentially get contracts for their athletes to help grow the app in the first year. And then after that, then that's something I would definitely look into, as well as nonprofits and other ways we can help people within the athletic realm, or just high achievers in general to, help them gain a mindful edge and, reduce stress. But no, that's a great idea. That's definitely on the radar. I just think it's important early on to really focus on what we got to get to get to where we want to go.
Because listening to you, now you're pretty set within your value proposition. You know exactly your clients, your customers, where they are. Then, let's say the product market fit, correct me if I'm wrong, you tick that box already.
That's correct.
Yeah. And my advice when it comes to target focus on USA before going even abroad. So because from market share, United States of America is the biggest. Yeah.
No, 100%. That's we're definitely all in the US right now. And then the app's also in Canada, but like I said, it's going to be a little while before we can even get the app out in Europe, just due to regulations and some of the restrictions that they have out there.
Good luck with that.
Just makes it harder for us. Yeah, right. Yeah, I appreciate it. But to answer your question, we're staying in the US to start.
Yeah, great. You've talked about Ascend's AI-driven personalization. How has this innovation changed the way users engage with mindfulness?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think the biggest aspect is that personalization aspect, that tailored aspect, right? So essentially, when you got a meditation before from an app like a Headspace or like a Calm, it's a pre-downloaded meditation, right? So you can go in, you'd pick some of them have courses too, which are pretty cool. I do like the course feature, but essentially you would click on the meditation and it would be the same base meditation for anybody to listen to, right? Using AI, since it's really so limitless and it can pull information really quick on the spot, it actually can tailor a personalized meditation experience for you for whatever you're going through. So for instance, if I was trying to get in meditation, if I was like, I'm about to go on this pre-zero sports talk podcast, a little bit nervous, can you give me a meditation to help me calm down, visualize my success, and perform at my best? It will actually take 5 to 10 seconds. But once you type in that prompt, you select the length of the meditation, right? So if I wanted a quick one right before I went on, I would do like 10 minutes. I would select the voice, and then I would select the background. And after that, you hit next, and it will actually generate that meditation for you for literally what you typed in 5 to 10 seconds. And the only way to be able to do that on the spot like that is through artificial intelligence. And that's changing the game for meditation experiences, because you're literally getting a meditation that's for you, that's like for what your needs, what you're going through, and that's huge and that's essential. So yeah, and to answer your question, short, essentially that's the way it works. Is AI can basically pull information online, because that's what ChatGPT does, and they can create a meditation experience for you. And then based on our text-to-speech right now that we have, which is Azure AI, we implemented that into the AI. So then they're able to read the prompts. There's spacing in between for the breath work, and by the time words are said, and to bring your own personalized meditation experience to life. So that's not possible without AI. So very super grateful, and that this is even a possibility.
Where do you see AI in 5 years' time? Where do you see it? Because
that's a loaded question.
Just in 12 months, we've seen it all.
Yeah, I everything I say is all a prediction. I have absolutely no idea. I want to say that on board. But I will say that I continue to see it evolving. I see, the technology getting better, giving better content. I see, for the Azure AI, the AI voices, I see those, becoming better and scaling, become more of like human voices. I just see it evolving. I see, people are smart. People are going to find ways to get the AI to help them more with business or whatever they're doing. They're going to find more ways to be innovative. So, a lot has happened in 12 months. And I think who knows what's going to look like in the next 5 years. It could be unbelievable.
From a business point of view, the way your business is set up right now, are you flexible in terms of pivoting based on what the AI will look in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years?
100%. So essentially what we're doing is we're using like a chat GPT, like 4.0 for our prompts, and then meshing that in with a text-to-speech service to give those meditations. So as the AI advances, we'll just grab a different source, whatever the top one may be, and implement that into the app. So there's definitely a lot of avenues to switch.
Cool. Can we see your app embracing various languages?
Yeah, 100%. Actually, early on, I wanted to use Spanish, French, a lot of other languages as well within the app. And then you could basically pick a voice and then select your language to get the meditation. We figured out that was pretty complicated early on. So we stuck with just English, but for your listeners out there, it's definitely on the radar to implement that as well. Because I definitely think that's really essential that everyone, no matter what language they speak, should have access to an app that could help them live a happier, healthier life. And that's something I'm really passionate about.
Fantastic. What's been the most rewarding feedback you've received from a user so far?
Most rewarding feedback is that it's helping people, especially student athletes. I don't know if you checked out our Instagram or not.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
But the Instagram has a lot of testimonials from student athletes that have been talking about how the app's been helping them, whether that's through the meditation plans, through the personalized meditations on the spot, or through the sleep stories, and how that's allowing them to visualize their success and excel their performance on the field, whatever that sport may be, whether it's the gymnastics lady that we just had up or a football player, basketball, whatever it may be. That's the most rewarding part for me because, if we all get back to this and look at the big picture, when it happened, I started this thing, it was never to create a $1 billion company. It was how can we help 1 billion people live happier, healthier lives? And getting that feedback from our niche market, from the student athletes, they're saying this app is really helping me. And that's something that I wish I had for that need, right? Back in the day. That's so fulfilling in itself. So, that feedback alone, that's just helping student athletes with their performance and reduce stress. I mean, that's what makes life worth living. It makes you feel amazing. So that would be the greatest feedback we've gotten.
Yeah. Being a Division I athlete comes with intense demands. Can you share a specific moment when balancing school, sports, and business felt overwhelming?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton. trying to think of a specific one. Yeah, geez. All right, I think I got one. So junior year, we have these things called like awakenings, right? So they're like the most brutal workouts you'll ever have. You just wake up 5 a.m, you're on a roller, and we just compete. It's like you basically have a matchup like 1-on-1. So you're competing against a teammate, and you're all broken up into teams, and you get like points, right? So you and this one guy you're competing against will do like sled pushes. You'll do sprints. You'll do like plate holds where you just squat and hold a plate as long as you can until you drop it. Bag drills. And each time there's a winner and a loser. And the coaches mark off points, right? And those points go to your overall team. And then there's 4 different teams. And then the team with the most points at the end of the day wins that day, right? It's brutal, right? And everyone exerts all their energy on the competition aspect because nobody wants to get swept because they post the scores like on the whiteboard for everyone to see. And nobody wants to get like 11-0, right? Like you want to win that competition. So where they get you is after that, then we have the county fair, which is like 6 stations of like brutally intensive workouts. But at that point, you're like just drained of like all your energy. So that's when you're really just like pushing yourself fast as well. And everyone's running like 2 miles an hour, just trying to get through. And we got throw up cans everywhere. But I remember so distinctly like that day, I was a little bit sick and I made it through the workout, but I was like throwing up and everything. And luckily for me, they were always on Wednesdays too, Wednesday morning. And I had 2 exams that day, both econ exams too.
Wow.
And, economics is not the easiest subject as well. And I definitely did not prepare adequately. So I got through that, felt horrible. And I remember walking out of there just like, what do I do? Like, and I had a couple of meetings later too about Ascend stuff, like for like game planning. And it's like down the line, like we were actually meeting with an attorney to get a provisional patent. And I was just like, I have no idea like how I'm going to do all this. Like I'm so like behind and not prepared. And that was a time that I really felt like super overwhelmed. And the mindset I've always like developed with, times like this has been like, it seems like a lot like in the moment, but at the end of the day, time doesn't stop, right? Like you're going to keep moving forward and you're going to find a way to get through it. Right. And that's always been my mindset is like, I'm hurting right now. Like, I don't know how this is going to happen or I'm going to get through this. And my anxiety's through the roof, but somehow we're going to find a way to get through this. And I wish the app was built at that time so I could have put on a meditation to help me, get through those exams and calm my nerves. But, I ended up just taking the exams, giving myself a lot of like affirmations, positive self-talk. Got through the exams. I don't remember how I did, but I got through them. Obviously, I passed the classes, so we were good. And I remember just being absolutely drained for those meetings later. And luckily for me, Hampton's a great, co-founder and partner, and he stepped up and did a lot of the talking. So I was able to kind of sit back and take notes. And I tried to be as all engaged as, try to be all there, but I'd be lying if I said I was completely. But, that was a time that I was just super overwhelmed, just putting a lot on my schedule and, physically exerting my body to the limit where I was just like, this is tough, right? Yeah, I would say that. And I would say the way to get through it with the mindset is just to know that, time doesn't stop, like I said, and you'll find a way to get through it, breathe, relax, center yourself and realize, live in the present moment, focus on the task you have at hand to achieve and then keep going to finish it out. But yeah, that was a time that was definitely overwhelming for sure.
Yeah. So would you say in this chaotic moment, the only way to stay disciplined is what? To take a little step back, take a deep breath, reflect maybe, listen, then talk, because you never know what comes out from.
100%.
Yeah.
I think another thing too is, active listening is huge too. Just you don't always have to be the center of attention and talking all the time. You can learn so much through listening. So the meetings later on too, that was super helpful as well. But yeah.
How did mentorship or support systems play a role during your toughest times?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like it's all about relationships. Like, I can't thank my mentors enough. Like, truthfully, I've had so many people in my life invest in me from a very early age to get to where I am, and that's kind of formulated my mindset of, every day honoring, glorifying the Lord with my talents, not like doing things I'm not supposed to be doing, not wasting time, and it's not about me. Like, I owe it to all the people that have helped me get to where I am today, that have invested in me, and believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, especially early on. And for me to not be working as hard as I possibly can and getting to where I want to go is just disrespectful to them, frankly. But to answer your question with mentorship, I don't even think it would be possible to start naming people because I've had so many in my life. I'm still very close with as well. That we'll talk like once a month and just catch up and just see how we're doing. And find ways to support, but they're huge because they're your rock, they're your support system, right? My foundation is my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and no matter what happens, if pillars are smacked, like analogy I thought of too, not to get off track, but there's like I'm at the beach and there's like a Navy ship, right, or like a bridge that goes out, and those pillars are so far cemented in the sand. Waves smack the pillars, smack houses, the houses fall down, restaurants fall down, everything else is destroyed, but those pillars never move because the foundation is set and firm. That's like my foundation in Christ. So no matter what's going on, good times or bad, my foundation's set. And similarly to like a mentor, they're there to mentor you. They love and they care about you. They generally want to see you succeed. And they're essentially your foundation for positivity and reaffirmations, right? So something's not necessarily going right, they're like, hey, like this happened to me. It's part of the process. You got to pick yourself up and keep going. And having that support system, that person to talk to is so essential. So, I can't thank all of them enough. And they know who they are. But I would definitely recommend everyone out there to, network with people. No conversation is a bad conversation, and become genuinely interested in other people, and find ways to mentor others, and give mentorship yourself. Because at the end of the day, life's all about synergy and how we can benefit one another towards a common goal. So, super thankful for them.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that, Walker.
Of course.
Let's shift gear to mindfulness and mental wellness. You've made mindfulness a core part of your life and work. What led you to this practice and how has it transformed your approach to challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely that time sophomore year, all kind of like we talked about earlier. And then just developing my relationship with my Lord and Savior.
And just one second. Earlier, you spoke about faith, you spoke about your spirituality, you spoke about, correct me if I'm wrong, Walker, when you stuck, when you cornered, when you questioning yourself, self-doubt maybe, probably the first communication is with your Savior, with God, with
That's correct.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to mindfulness, what role faith really does when it comes to mindfulness?
Well, faith is my life. Like, that's everything.
I'm sorry to ask you that. It's just to clarify.
No, you're good.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. No, I think there's definitely a distinction around mindfulness, right? That word obviously can sometimes people kind of get confused with the word meditation. Mm-hmm. People think of like the Buddha, and other things like that. But at the end of the day, Jesus was the greatest meditator. He lived in the present moment and he changed the lives of others. And mindfulness, meditation, that's living in the present moment, that's having a cultivation of gratitude and a sense of peace, learning how to breathe and essentially live your happiest, healthiest life. Mm-hmm. So I really don't think there's a distinction with mindfulness, whether that's Christianity, Buddhism, whatever it may be. Everyone can be mindful. Everyone can learn to breathe. Everyone can meditate. If you're, theological differences, if you're different, that's okay, But at the end of the day, you can still learn to breathe, learn to be mindful, and cultivate that practice. So I hope that answers your question.
Mm-hmm. How do you get started
with meditation? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's different for everybody. I started really basic. I started writing down 2 things I'm grateful for every day. In a gratitude journal. There's multiple forms of meditation. Everything you do is essentially you being mindful, right? Washing the dishes, it's whatever you're doing, giving your full attention to that task at hand, right? So I would just encourage everybody to get started is whatever you're doing in the present moment, fully immerse in doing that activity. If you're playing it, like that's why sports is so great, right? Because you're not thinking about anything else. You're in the present moment doing that activity. You're washing the dishes, you're reading a book. Don't let your mind wander. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Focus on what you're doing in the moment. And that is literally the definition of mindfulness, right? Regarding, learning how to breathe meditation-wise, I would say box breathing is really, really great. Breathe in for 7 seconds, hold, mm-hmm. Breathe out for 4, repeat that. And, develop a consistent practice with that. And that you'll feel that sense of like calm wash over you, that you're able to essentially be in the present moment, right? Like you feel like a sense of like coolness, like rush through your body, that like this weight is like gone, right? And obviously I'm going to promote the app too. If you can, download the app and create your own personalized meditation. Mm-hmm. An app will teach you how to breathe, right? Mm-hmm. And also help you visualize your success, whatever you're going through. But anybody that's starting out and wanting to know what it is, there's a great book called The Miracle of Mindfulness, written by a T. Nahan. I think I'm going to mess that one up, but he's a Buddhist monk he's a very wise man, and that's a very good book in the introduction of mindfulness and what it means to be mindful. He really hits on washing the dishes, be mindful in everything you do. He also suggests, once a week, having, a day for mindfulness, right? So whether that's Saturday, Sunday, whatever that day may be, do everything at a slower pace, like really engage in every single thing you're doing, and then try to formulate that in the rest of your life. But I would say, that's a really good place to start reading that book. There's a lot of really good instructors online, mm-hmm. On YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then obviously there's a ton of resources out there for apps. And I would also really recommend too, just taking a walk in nature, put your phone away and just go walk around in nature by yourself for like 2 hours. And really just don't talk, don't listen to music. Don't let your mind be overstimulated and see what happens. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be pretty life-changing.
I like that. Keep your phone away and go for a walk.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Don't do it enough.
Yeah. But it's clear, Walker, faith and gratitude seems central to your outlook.
100%.
And I feel like they guided you through life's ups and downs.
For sure. Attitude's the best gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude is the best attitude.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there a daily practice you rely on to reinforce these values?
Yeah. 100%. My morning routine is actually I wake up. First thing I do is make my bed. And then
That's important.
sit right back. 100%.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's what I teach my boys.
Yeah. No, you got to make your bed, right? Start the day with a win, right? From there, I have actually 3 books. I read the Bible, I read a daily devotional, and then it's called New Morning Mercies, which is the other devotional, right? So I read the New Morning Mercies, and that's just a scripture, and then he kind of interprets it and what's that mean to us as Christians, and how could the message God's trying to portray to us. And then I read my my new morning, or like my daily devotional for men, which is essentially like prayer book. And in there I have my goals, right? So I have my goals for 2025, and I read those every day too, so I can set the day off with having those on my mind. And then I read a chapter of the Word. I just finished Romans, just started Corinthians, and then I really take time to immerse myself in that to really set the tone for my day. But within those, I have bookmarks, right? Which I think are really important, because each time I open a book, you always look at the bookmark right away. So one of my bookmarks in those is, my mission statement, like what I'm on this earth to do. And then on the back of that bookmark is my values, which are gratitude, humility, integrity, communication, action-oriented, courage, love, family-oriented, and then non-judgment. So I see that every single day I wake up, right? So that's just a constant reminder of who I am, and, how I want to be portrayed, how I want to live my life, how I want others to perceive me. And then it's just a similar practice, right? So throughout the day, if I have time, I'll read a book, same thing, see it again. And then at night, it's the same process. I reread the same things just to make sure they're cemented in my brain. But seeing my values, seeing my mission statement and my goals, 3 to 5 times a day, just from picking up a book, is essential. So I think that's a really good way. It's really taking time to invest in yourself. It's something a lot of people don't really necessarily think it's important or want to take the time to really do it. And it took me a while to do as well. But I would encourage everyone to, spend some time when you have it throughout the day, right? Spend 2 hours writing a personal mission statement, write down your values, write down how you want your family to perceive you, how you want to be perceived in business, how you want your friends to perceive you, how you want to live your life, right? How you want to be known, and formulate those things, create your values, create your mission statement, and live by it. Don't just write it down. Don't just speak about it, live it. So that's just a constant reminder, for sure.
That's what the majority of good leaders do on a daily basis.
I'm trying.
Yeah. So how do you define leadership, Walker, and how has it evolved for you?
Yeah, for me, I think servant leadership has become like a cliche, these days, with that definition. But my definition of a man is how he treats someone that can do nothing for him. And that's my definition of leadership too. It's how can I help someone that can't help themselves? How can I help them make their life a little bit better? How can I serve them, right? And that's kind of always been my leadership style, whether that's with Ascend in life, especially in meetings. I'm never going to be the one to be like, obviously we have like a business plan, we have goals each week, but I love asking people for ideas, right? I'm like, what do you guys want to do? Like, what do you think we could do that would be innovative to help us get to where we want to be? And it's great because Walker Ferguson only has so many ideas in his head. Hampton Tanner only has so many ideas in his head. But everyone else on the team comes up with all these like great ideas that are like, wow, like I never could have thought of that. So being able to have like open communication, which is such a big thing, has been huge for myself in leadership, as well as just serving others, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And then showing them gratitude, giving them all the glory and the appreciation. I never want to be known as somebody that took credit for anything, took credit for starting a huge business or doing anything like that, because it's really all about the team at the end of the day. And, you got to find the who before the what. And when you find the who, the bus starts rolling, and you got to get the right people on the bus. And, we have the right people on the team. We found the who. So you got to give them all the credit, because without them, I'm just a dude with a computer. So,
okay.
To answer your question, serving others.
Picture this. Take a moment. You, a coach of, let's say, football coach. How would you lead your team for entire season to achieve greatness? Because you told me just now, for you, leadership is a cliche when it comes to defining what's leadership. So
For sure.
you're a coach of a known football team. You have a fantastic players.
Roster. Yeah.
You have a great team. You have all the resources, all the support and things like that. And you're one of the best. Let's say the best coach. Through all what you told me. And forget how old you are. That's completely irrelevant. Let's say you won a couple of seasons and stuff. What would you do from a leadership standpoint to lead, guide, support, empower your team to achieve greatness?
Yeah. No, the first thing I'd do is before the start of the season, way before, like in the off season leading into next season, I'd call everybody in, make sure we're all on the same page once all the trades went through, and I would write down every single one of our goals. But they wouldn't be my personal goals. They would be team goals. We'd have a team mission statement. We'd have our team values, and we'd all agree on them. We'd come into a consensus, and that's how we'd live in the organization. That's our bread and butter, right? Within that, the goals we want to accomplish, is it the Super Bowl? Is it the NFC Championship? Obviously, setting those goals and there's actionable steps to achieve those goals. So that's the first thing I would do, is lay the framework, because I do think it's really important to always begin with the end in mind, to understand where you want to go and then how you're going to get there, right? But making sure the whole team is invested in that early on, right? To realize that, we're all making a commitment to each other now, and if we make that commitment, we're seeing it through, right? No matter what adversity faces. So setting those goals, that mission statement, those values is pretty crucial for me as a leader, and I'm sure most coaches in the NFL do that pretty early on to establish how they want to go throughout the season. And the next thing I would do after that's established is constantly putting my players above myself, giving them credit for every little win. Positive self-talk is huge. Being like, nice catch, Stephon, that's a really good run, Saquon, like whoever the players are, but just constantly building them up and building their self-esteem. And then when things, if we lose a game, right, and a player had a bad game, right, so say, we were talking about Josh Allen, right? Say Josh Allen threw like 3 picks, right? I take the credit for that, right? That was my fault, coaching decision. We threw bad calls, we put him in a bad position. He's not to blame at all. You know what I mean? Taking that responsibility, putting the team above yourself, right? And that's the way you can serve your team. And as a result, what I've seen, especially at Wake, is players respect that so much that they want to play for a coach like that, and they want to get to where you want to be. So, that would be my leadership. It would be, setting that mission statement, those values and the goals, and throughout the season, positively reinforcing everyone, and through like little wins, because little wins are really important. And then, on the spotlight, if things aren't going great, taking the blame, or just being like, that's on me. That's the coach's fault. But if things are going really well, and we got 10 wins, 15 wins, about to go to the Super Bowl, the team gets all the credit because they're the ones playing, right? And that's the definition of a servant leader. So that's what I would do.
Thank you. You passed the test.
Yeah, sweet.
We spoke about setbacks earlier on. They often teach us more than success. It's reality. What's been one of the most challenging moments in your career, and how did you navigate a major setback?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that one's easy. That one goes back to high school.
Mm-hmm.
So my junior year, I thought I was going to play lacrosse in college. That's all I wanted to do. I was like, I'm playing lacrosse. That was like my first love, to be honest with you. And I played club ball the whole time. Mm-hmm. I got a couple offers to a couple Division I schools, no schools I wanted to go to, and COVID hit, right? So I didn't get to play my junior year in lacrosse in the spring. Club ball was cut, so we didn't get to play, and that's the prime recruiting period for lacrosse. And on top of all that, roster spots went from 12 kids a class to 4 kids a class. So if you can imagine that, I was a lot of adversity, right? So at that point, a lot of the classes had been done too. A lot of the top kids had already been taken and committed to the schools that I wanted to go to. So at that point, it was kind of wraps, to be honest with you. So I was like, wow, like this is what I really thought I was going to do, and it's over, so that was a major setback. That one hurt. That one stung pretty good. I think I let that one sit for about a week and felt sorry for myself, which I don't recommend anyone doing. After that, I was like, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. God's got a plan. Let's go. So then after that, shifted my full focus towards football. Luckily enough, I had a good enough tape my junior year, making plays to be able to get some looks from schools. And I didn't play football my senior year either, which is crazy. But during COVID, the two states that didn't were Connecticut and then Virginia. So I didn't get to play, football, which sucked. But that didn't stop me. Me and my buddies would run one-on-ones every day. We'd lift. We'd film each other bench pressing and squatting and sending that to coaches. And we couldn't go to camps either because of COVID. So we were constantly sending coaches like one-on-ones, lifts, all this good stuff. And as a result of that, a lot of opportunity came out of that. Because we were building friendships and changing our bodies. And I went from 175 to 205 in like a summer during that. Yeah, it was a big transformation for me. Yeah, right, exactly. And I was just like showing coaches like, look, like I'm like I look like a $175 on film, and I'm catching balls and stuff. But I was like, this is me now. And then like having that film to back it up. That's when Wake offered me. I was given that opportunity. And I wouldn't have changed a thing because I came to Wake Forest. And I've had an unbelievable time, played ACC football, met unbelievable people, built relationships for a lifetime. And none of that would have been possible if lacrosse didn't work out. So what I would tell everyone out there is the grass is always greener. It's always dark right before the light. And just because something doesn't go the way you want it to, and it really stings in the moment, I'm telling you, there's a rainbow on the other side. So keep going. Don't feel bad for yourself. Find a way to keep moving forward. That was a huge setback and a lot of adversity I faced. And here I am now.
Yeah. Good. For young athletes dreaming of blending sports with entrepreneurship, what's your top piece of advice?
Well, it depends on what you want to do, right? If you're trying to do something yourself, it's different than what I was going to say. My biggest piece of advice, if you're going into a partnership, is, find somebody you're really willing to die for, somebody that you completely trust, somebody that is not blood related, but is blood related, where that trust and loyalty is there no matter what, no matter what happens, you're going to be like this. That's the most important thing, starting a business with anybody, being an entrepreneur, because obviously some things are going to go your way. You're going to have ups and downs, a lot of learning experiences, but having that trust and that loyalty to be able to come back on top is so essential. So that would be my main piece of advice, is find the right person to start a business with.
What do you wish you'd known earlier in your journey?
Wow.
Pick one.
Yeah,
Pick one. If you have to start again.
It's a lot, but I think the one that really sticks in the mind the most is whatever you put in here is what comes out here. So really eliminating fear and doubt from your mind. I said this earlier, but fear and doubt, that energy travels. And if you're thinking about those things normally happen. Earl Nightingale says, that famous quote, we are what we think about most of the time. So thinking like a winner, having that positive reassurance, visualizing success, making your mind being like so strong in your mind with what you want to do in your life. I mean, I wish I knew that early on. I think that would have changed. Not that I regret anything or would do anything differently, but not having those doubts and that positivity, and that positive self-talk. That's it. 100%.
Great. Now it's time for our lightning round. Ready for speedy Q&A?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Another challenge. That's a fun.
Yeah.
Fun challenge. Right. What's your favorite pre-game meal?
Steak and eggs.
Any particular steak?
Whatever that. It's normally like fillets. Because when we play noon games, if it's a night game, it's pasta and meatballs.
Yeah.
Get the carbs.
Who has been your biggest inspiration?
My dad, 100%. The way that he carries himself, all the values, everything he's taught me in my life. Every day I just want to make him proud. So, my dad.
Excellent. What's your go-to relaxation activity after a tough game?
Meditation. Breathing.
Always.
Whether using the app or doing my own practice. Yeah.
Favorite motivational quote or mantra?
The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step.
Walker, if you could have a dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Jesus, our Lord and Savior. No question. No
What would
brainer.
you ask him?
A lot of things. I would just ask him how he's able to love every single person on this world, no matter what. Just pick his brain there.
Mm-hmm. Favorite place to travel for downtime?
The gym. I love the gym. Every time I get a moment, I love doing curls or lifting weights and running, finding something to do to chill. Outside of that, if it's something, not physical, I love spending time with my girlfriend. Going to the movies is great. Sitting there and relaxing.
How often you go to the gym, let's say a week?
At least 5 days.
And usually it's more than an hour session, or?
It depends on the day. It depends on if I'm doing I joined that jiu-jitsu gym too. So if I have that going on, I'll do a 45-minute lift and just do some squats and some calves and stuff like that and break down the muscles. But because I have that later on in the day, but it really just depends.
And is it well structured for an entire season, or you have your own program and plan, let's say cardio in winter, or?
Yeah, so no, I'm kind of doing it all right now. Just kind of getting into that. Back in football, when we were playing football, we had a strength program, right? Obviously to build strength the next season, as well as we'd run before, and then we'd go in and lift. But that was all calculated. The strength coaches are good at what they do and knew what they were doing. I'm kind of just trying to stay strong, stay in shape.
Fit,
so
yeah. Coffee or tea, or none?
Tea, 100% tea.
Okay. Most memorable moment on a football field?
Beating NC State in 2021 and going to the ACC championship.
Best advice you ever received?
Keep the main thing the main thing. Don't forget why you came somewhere and what you can accomplish.
What's your dream for the next 5 years?
To help 1 billion people live happier, healthier lives and become more mindful.
Who is your favorite athlete of all time?
Kobe Bryant. He sacrifices everything. I think it's really big to have sacrifice in your life, and you have to sacrifice a lot to get to where you want to be, and he's a prime example of that. So, Mamba mentality.
Okay. And one word that describes your philosophy on life?
Love.
And lastly, if you could give an advice to our listeners or a piece of wisdom on any topic?
Yeah, I would just say it's always dark right before the light, and just every day put one foot in front of the other to get to where you want to be. And you really, truly never know how close you are, so keep going no matter what. And remember, most importantly, to eliminate all the negative outside noise, because at the end of the day, all of that is just, don't let that affect you. Just keep going.
Excellent. Walker Ferguson, thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate you having me on your show. I've listened to a couple episodes of Pre-Zero Sports Talk, and you do good at what you do, so I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. And for our listeners, I leave you with a quote from Vince Lombardi, a legendary American football coach, widely regarded as one of the most outstanding leaders in sports history. I firmly believe that any man's finest hour, his greatest fulfillment to all he holds dear. It's that moment when he has worked his heart out in a good cause and lies exhausted on a field of battle victorious. Thank you for tuning in to the Pre-Zero Sports Talk podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to our show. Till next time, stay inspired, keep making a difference, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.